Hello good people of YouTube, and welcome to my hobby channel, and this is the second video in the series where I'm building and painting dragons for a Middle-earth strategy battles game that I'm planning to have on Thursday. It's now Sunday morning. I'm still struggling with my mental health, and I'm also struggling a little bit with YouTube and the algorithms. As I explain later in this video, that having made the decision to focus on hobby that I enjoy and hobby that's good for my mental health, my channel is tanking and the YouTube algorithms are interfering with my own mental health, filling my own YouTube feed with a load of AI slop and clickbait that I find counterproductive to good mental health. So I actually feel like I'm drowning in a world of noise, and probably the best thing I can do is walk away. Now, normally at the end of my videos, I thank you all for watching. I ask you to like and subscribe, to share the video, and if you want to leave a comment, please do, but please keep those comments kind and respectful. I'm front loading this now because saying it at the end of the video doesn't seem to do any good. My channel is free, my content is free. I don't charge for membership, I don't have a paywall. This is not a commercial venture for me. This is free hobby. The only thing I ask for in return is that you support my channel by liking and subscribing so that my content doesn't disappear into the abyss. You may not be aware, but I have written 2 books, and they're both on modelling and painting miniatures. I was commissioned by the publisher to write these books. So they wanted me to write one on fantasy figures and the other on science fiction miniatures. These books still cover all the hints and tips and techniques that you might find useful, even if you're hobbying with historical wargaming, Napoleonics, medieval Dark Ages, or modern warfare. I cover a lot of stuff in these books that will be useful whatever period you're interested in. So if you have bought these books already, thank you very much. Your purchase is greatly appreciated. If you're interested in buying these books, you can get them from the publisher. That's Crowwood Press. If you purchase this book, it not only helps give purpose and meaning to my YouTube channel, but it helps support me and my publisher, and it's greatly appreciated. Thank you. So, having said all that, here's part 2 of Blightfang. Whether or not I finish this project on YouTube, I don't know, but please enjoy the next 25 minutes of honest, unadulterated and chilled out hobby. So this is my second video in which I add the base texture to Blightfang and then prime the model. And this video documents that journey. Okay. First thing I want to do is get a little bit of gravel on this base. Now normally I'd use PVA, wood glue, and that would give me good coverage, and I would just dip this into some gravel in a tray like this and then leave it to dry. But time is of the essence, and I also quite like the effect that I get when I use a little bit of super glue instead of PVA. It's quick drying, but also it holds the gravel in kind of patches and clumps better than PVA does. So the first thing I'm going to do is just get some super glue, randomly squidged around. Parts of the base, and I'm being quite generous with this. And I'll do this half of the base first. So I've got super glue on there, but I've got some sand before I use this gravel, which is coarse. I'm just going to try and get some fine sand on there. So I'm using this to catch the sand as I tip it. I've got this little measuring cap here. It was either off medicine or plant food, can't remember which. So I'm just tipping that there, and then I can shake that off. And that doesn't look very impressive now, but it'll be fine when I've finished painting it. And now I'll do the same on here. With some super glue and some sand. And just tip it over. That's the fine sand, and I want some patches of coarse gravel. So I'm using generous amounts of super glue again. So there's my tub of railway ballast that I use, and it's a mix of different grades. So there's some fine, some medium and some coarse in there, and I'm just tipping that over the base. Try and clean up the edge with a tissue there. Okay, so I've sprayed that with a bit of water to stop the super glue from running. What I want to do now is just prime the dragon with this Vallejo surface primer, and I'll prime the base with black. And the reason I'm in a bit of a hurry is not because of my Thursday deadline, it's because we've got storms forecast for this evening, so I want to try and get this drying before the weather changes. So it looks more yellow on this camera than it is in real life. This is more of a kind of khaki green. Now I'm just trying to prime this with the camera in the way, which isn't easy. So I'll probably have to come to one side. Now I know Reaper say that you don't have to prime bones, you just use Reaper paints straight on it. But I've always found I get best results if I use a Vallejo acrylic polyurethane surface primer, and then give that plenty of time to dry. will then take a little bit of regular primer from a rattle can, which helps if you want to use speed paints or a different brand of acrylics other than Reaper paints.
So I'm just trying to make sure now that I've got an even coverage everywhere and that none of the primer is pooling in places where I don't want it to gather. And once I think I've done it all, I can get this drying in a warm sunny spot downstairs. Right, I'm happy with that. So I'm going to get that drying off now. Okay, so I've had that in front of a dehumidifier and a fan in the sunlight and the warmth downstairs, and it's drying nicely. So just very quickly, I now need to prime the whole of the base in black, which is why I went for super glue and not PVA glue. Just for speed more than anything, but it also means I can build up layers of gravel and earth later on. I'm getting down to the last remnants in this bottle, so I just want to quickly cover the base, and then this can carry on drying downstairs. So I'm not too fussed if I hit the toes accidentally at this stage, because I can correct that after the zenithal prime has gone on and I start to paint the model properly. But the super glue to secure the gravel is a cheat, which in this case is hopefully going to be quite effective. Let's get a tiny bit more. Finish off the gravel and stones round here. There we are. Tiny bit there to finish off. Oops. And just a little bit round here as well. But that is the black primer on the base now, and I can leave this to dry. And hopefully get some zenithal prime on it if the weather holds out for long enough. But there we have the dragon with a earth green Vallejo surface primer on it, and the base with a black Vallejo surface primer on it. All good so far. Okay, so here we are. I've had a bad night and the dark thoughts are growing, but yesterday, on a positive note, I did have the foresight to get a little bit of white primer on this from a rattle can. So the painted primer dried in time for me to do that before the storms rolled in overnight and dumped a load of water outside. So it's wet and it's windy outside, not suitable for priming. But yeah, this is now ready to paint along with the Pathfinder Red Dragon, and I can't remember the name of that dragon, but I've got him to finish off as well. So I've got 3 dragons there, each pointed up at 250 points for the Middle Earth strategy battle game that I'm planning to have. So I can now paint these, but my mental health is taking a downward turn at the moment. I'm having lots of unhelpful and intrusive thoughts. Now, I am having therapy. I do use a lot of techniques. Reframing is one. So I can, and I do look for the positives in very negative situations. But at the moment, I'm really struggling. And my recent kind of commitment to doing YouTube content that I enjoy, rather than YouTube content that chases clicks and likes and tries to please the algorithms, has instead resulted in the algorithms killing my channel. The view count on my videos now is disappointing when I think about the time and the effort that I put in to making those videos. It's important from a mental health therapy point of view to have something you can focus on, a hobby or a project, to be able to do things and make things that fill you with a sense of reward. And that's why I do this, building this dragon here and getting it primed before the heavens opened and it started to rain and thunder outside is a reward in itself. That leaves me with a sense of achievement, and it puts a smile on my face, and I'm thinking, great, now I can paint this. But doing a YouTube video about this and sticking it up onto YouTube then adds a layer of tarnish to my own therapy. My current perspective this morning is hampered by having had not the best night's sleep. The algorithms have ruined my own YouTube feed. I have to physically search for the channels that I like to watch. I keep deleting videos from my watch history just in case it was that video that's associated with the kind of slop that the algorithms dump on you. And I've just reached a point where interacting with YouTube is ruining my hobby again. This is probably the 3rd or 4th time since I started the channel where I've reached this kind of crisis point with how do I make YouTube work for me? And the truth is, I don't know. Maybe I make YouTube work for me in my hobby by
from my channel and walking away from YouTube and just sitting quietly and doing my hobby.